Welcome to PLZsoccer.com. I'm pleased to say I'm joined here with former Dundee boss James McPake. First of all, James, how's things? How are you getting on?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. It's been over a month now, a wee bit longer since I left Dunfermline, so it was good. Had a good break in terms of a bit of reflection, a bit of going over, but now getting back out to games and watching more football and try to get out the house, if I'm honest.
Have you been enjoying your time off, or are you looking forward to maybe getting back into something soon?
Yeah, look, it's strange because I think that when I was at Dundee, when I left Dundee, I went and got surgery pretty quick. I'm on my knee, so I had that to focus on, and it didn't feel too much like a break by the time I was back into Dunfermline. So, look, this time it's been a bit different. I don't know if you ever enjoy not working, but just having time with the kids and doing wee bits and pieces. But now get the football head back on in terms of watching more games, getting out and about. So no, it was a good wee break if you can take any positives from losing your job. But no, it's been a bit different, and just getting back out there and watching games now.
Brilliant. Well, let's get on to one of your former sides, Dundee, as you mentioned there. Just tell us, how impressed have you been with the work that Tony Docherty has done since the time he's been at the club?
Oh, look, very impressed. I think going in, and it's difficult as well. I think Gary Bowyer done a fantastic job getting them out the Championship as well. And then Tony goes in. They had a fantastic league campaign last year, and punched above their weight. If like, normally when a team come up, and I'd heard Tony's interviews throughout the season where he was talking about just enough to stay in the league, but they went and they had a fantastic season. And this year now, a great result on Saturday against Airdrie puts them into the quarter final of the cup as well, and they'll be fully focused on league business as well, where they know that the big game. Let's be honest, and it's not been unrealistic, but the big aim first and foremost for a lot of teams in the Premiership is getting away from that playoff and obviously the automatic relegation. So they're in a position where they won't be too comfortable at the minute, but also they're one win and results away for catching two or three teams above them as well. So there'll be no panic up there. Yeah, they had a couple of bad results, but that can happen at any point in the Premiership. But no, I've been really impressed with the job Tony Docherty's done at Dundee.
You'll be no stranger to this in your management career as well, but how difficult can it be to replicate a success from the previous season to do it again?
No, look, again, and for me, it comes down to how you define success at a football club. I'd said last year that, and from hearing Tony's interviews, that the aim was to stay in the league. And when I was at Dundee, always aim. And look, this isn't just Dundee. This is probably most teams in that league. The first aim is get to a certain amount of points, normally 40, 42, whatever that may be, that avoids the playoff and automatic relegation, obviously. So it's to replicate last year's season. Obviously, is really tough, just in terms of, as I said earlier, I felt they punched above their weight and they were fantastic. But I think at the minute they're as I said, they're in the quarterfinals of the Scottish Cup. They're in a position in the league where, yeah, they'll be worried of the two teams below them, but knowing Tony and knowing that football club, they'll also be desperate to get back into that top six as well, and that'll be the main focus for them. Obviously, the two results that were disappointing for everyone involved with the football club, but again, it can happen, particularly going into Celtic Park. But then they go and beat Airdrie, who had been on a decent bit of form in the Championship over the last 3 or 4 weeks. So, no, look, I think everything's going pretty well at Dundee, if I'm honest.
A few success stories coming out of the club in recent months, of course. Luke McCowan moving to Celtic and now Lyall Cameron on to Rangers in the summer. Just on Lyall, you gave him his debut at Dundee. What was he like as a youngster, and could you see that he had it in him to make that leap to the top half of the Premiership?
Yeah, look, it was fantastic. It's it's great for the kid. Dundee fans will obviously be disappointed. They've lost one of their best players in a homegrown player at that. But I think that again, credit has to go to the way Dundee are doing things. Not just now, but probably over the last 3 or 4 seasons, because you don't just all of a sudden, these players just don't pop up and become good enough in terms of Luke McCowan's pathway to Celtic. It was a wee bit different compared to Lyall. Luke obviously was at Ayr United, played a lot of football there, came into Dundee in the Championship, done really well in the Premiership, and then gets a move to Celtic. Where Lyall was at Dundee from a young kid, but for me that's a success story. You're now, in my opinion, you're starting to see the progression in the football club and what they have been trying to do, Tim Keys and John Nelms, and I think now you're seeing the effect that Gordon Strachan's having in there as well. When Gordon first came in, everything was big on the academy. I can speak about that because I was part of the coaching team in the academy and had Lyall and different players that are still doing really well and might be the next ones to move in the under 18s and then reserves, and obviously now they've went on to play in the first team. So from a young kid, actually, it's a strange story, or it's a weird story when you look back and talk about it. I played with Lyall, try to come back from injury, and I think in bounce games and things like that, Lyall would have been 14 at the time, and even from then you could tell he was a brilliant footballer. Yes, slight in size, but I think he makes up for that and other things he can do. And it's like, I'm delighted for him as a kid. He's really hard working. Technically, he's excellent, and Lyall will be desperate to go to finish this season with Dundee successfully, and then go to Rangers and kick on again, because that's the type of character he is.
Is that what the club are well equipped in doing now, when players like Luke McCowan and your Lyall Camerons move on, that they have got the next an up and coming player to be that replacement?
Well, I'm not privy to that as such in what's in their academy at the minute, but I think in terms of over the last few years, certainly, I think they have done that, and for me, I think it's a great way of doing it. The sustainability of the football club, and there's not just those two, like Finlay Robertson, who has been a wee bit different from Lyall. Finn came in and started at a young age and kind of kicked on and was really consistent for a while before he hit his dip. He's now back to playing the way that we all know he can, and he's signed a new deal, which is fantastic news for Dundee. Josh Mulligan's playing week in, week out, as well, and these kids are all, well, not so much kids now, but they're all the same age. And Max Anderson obviously moved in the summer for a fee. I took Sam Fisher to Dunfermline for a fee. Harry Sharp's still there, and that's all that group. Luke Graham is one that, possibly going back to what you said, he's the next one coming through that you would look at and say, could Dundee get the benefit of Luke Graham playing in the first team and then move him on as well? So Luke's obviously went back out and loaned to Falkirk after a very successful first half of the season there. So I think it's a great way that the club are doing it. It's the way the football club wants to do it, and credit to them, because even from my time there, they were very patient with the younger ones, very encouraging. Certainly I can only speak for myself, and what support I got from Gordon, John and Tim was to get these young kids in the team when they're ready, and we'll work with you on that. And look, when you do that and you're bringing young players through, there's going to be highs and lows. And let's be honest, with experienced players, you get that as well. So I think the way Dundee are doing it has been fantastic, and there's other clubs in the country that are doing it as well. And there's cases over the years where you've seen different clubs. Dundee United had a great spell where they had a great group of young players. Hibs going even further back had them coming through, and now Dundee look like that's their model, and it's certainly one that I really enjoy watching. Obviously there's a bit of an interest because it's Dundee as well, and I've worked with these players, so you keep a keen eye on that one a wee bit more. But for players, and for Scottish players in particular, it's fantastic for our game.
From one former team to another, I wanted to ask you about Hibs. Was David Gray, being in the managerial position, did you always expect that he would be the man to turn it around?
I was hopeful, yeah. I'm a young manager, someone I've got a lot of respect for, and obviously another football club that I had a great time at, and really enjoyed being and representing that football club. So when David and Liam Craig were in, it's two people I know really well. And fair play again there, you look in Hibs, stood by him when results weren't great. And again, a young manager, he's I know he had been in charge temporary at certain times, but he's went in and they've showed patience, and it's going to take time in there as well. But I'm delighted for David in the way he has turned it round. But again, Hibs, knowing that club, that fan base, they'll be very, very greedy for more success, and they'll be looking to kick on again. And that's a challenge for David, and obviously Liam and his staff and the players, is now that they're out that poor run of form, is to continue with a good form and keep progressing.
Top 6 finish for them, would you say?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so, and I think so. I think with the way they've steadied it, first and foremost, he's went in. He's now had another window. His own window where he can help that or put his own stamp in the squad. I know a few went out as well. So no, I expect Hibs to finish in the top 6.
Just finally, a few questions on Rangers and the result that they got in the Scottish Cup. As a manager who's been under pressure, how do you deal with the negativity and the noise that's surrounding a club when you pick up a result like that?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a clash in terms of being under pressure at Dundee or Dunfermline compared to when you're the Rangers manager. But like, again, it's the levels that you work at, and you do feel the pressure. And these results happen. We've seen them in England as well, and it's one that'll hurt. It'll hurt the manager, of course it will. It'll hurt the players and the fans as well. So like, in terms of how you deal with it, you get back on, and this is just me. He's far more experienced than I am as a manager, but like, you get the players back on the pitch, and you're desperate for that next game to come round. I've had plenty of disappointing results as a player and a manager, and I don't think that changes. Whether you're a player, whether you're the manager, you're just desperate to get back on the training pitch, and then for the next game to come around quickly, and that's all he'll be doing, in my opinion. There's nothing he can really do. They'll do their analysis on it, but like, we all know it's a very disappointing result for them. But I think a lot of credit has to go to Queen's Park and Callum Davidson as well. They went in there with a game plan, and you've got to have luck when you play Celtic or Rangers in this country, particularly when you're a league below them, and go in and catch them. And on an off day, you need your goalkeeper to be very good, and Callum Ferry was certainly that.
Do you have sympathy for Philippe Clement at this moment in time? You touched on it there, but what will he be thinking, and how can he get over a banana skin moment like that?
Again, I don't know if it's sympathy in terms of, because every manager, there's managers up and down the country, in every league that have lost at the weekend. But obviously I don't know him personally. Comparing that to David Gray, where you feel that because you've got a lot of somebody that you're pretty close to, and you know pretty well, so you feel that sympathy. But like, he's just got to, like, as I say, he'll be hurting. Every manager does. Certainly more than the players. That's one thing that you learn when you from a player, and that's not to say the players will not care. I'm talking personally here, but when you're a player, you lose a game, of course you're hurting. But when you're the manager, then you're questioning absolutely everything you've done. But look, he's very experienced. He's working at an elite level, a very pressurised situation, and he'll just have to deal with it. He'll need to get in and get the boys back on the training pitch and try and win the next game.
And just finally then, do you believe that can he survive the pressure now that it's game by game?
Again, I've never been in that situation where you've got the expectancy of a huge football club like them, and the negativity that's surrounding it, particularly after losing to a team a league below you, and again you're at home, in front of your own fans. So like, I believe he can handle it. Yeah, there'll be questions. There'll be every paper, every journalist, every phone in will be questioning his job. The fans will be questioning it. But the one thing they have done is they've been very good in Europe as well. And it's a disappointing one, and it happens. As I say, it's happened in Scotland over as long as I can remember it. We've seen it in England yesterday as well with Liverpool. So like, these results do happen. I think he's big enough and strong enough that he can handle the situation. But again, it just comes down to what Rangers Football Club want to do in terms of that, and that's above him as well when it comes to the board and whoever makes those decisions.
For more exclusive interviews and unique video content, subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel.